All this is Dr. Mobeen Sayed from drbeen.com. We are in the cafe. Welcome. So, very quickly, let's look at the monkeypox. I think, at least so far, it seems that this is not something to worry too much. The US cases, they say, are the ones who had traveled outside and then come back and they had it. Um, European nations, so this CNBC confirmed dozens of cases in what becomes the largest outbreak of monkeypox ever on the continent. US has confirmed at least 2 cases and Canada has confirmed at least 5 so far. Belgium has introduced a mandatory 21-day quarantine for monkeypox patients because the incubation time is about 2 to 3 weeks, 3 weeks. The most recent surge in cases appears to have been spread among men who have sex with other men. We saw this one before as well from the CDC. Generally, excuse me, the spread is through the contacts, and the contact with the lesion or the material in the pustules, those little blisters, or body fluids. Respiratory droplets as well, but big droplets, so it's not very easy for it to spread. The only worry that I had was that will monkeypox leave scars when it is healed? And it seems that in some people, um, those pustules, when they heal over, it is possible that the scars will be left like they were for smallpox. This is also a similar. So, in the smallpox time in the previous centuries, there used to be people used to love milkmaids because their skin used to be so clear. And the reason for that was that milkmaids or people who are working with the cows, they used to get cowpox, which will then protect them from smallpox, which will then means that they will not get the smallpox and they would not get the scarring on the skin. And because of that, milkmaids or folks who are working with the cows, they used to have, compared to others, beautiful skins without any scars. So that is the only one concern that I had. And again, in the cases of milder uh, infection, that may not happen, but a full blown infection can cause scarring. So the individuals in the US reported they had traveled in April with symptoms appearing in early May. The majority of the current cases have been reported in men who have sex with other men. Now, this is also, I discussed that last time as well. This is not something that was known before, that the sexual transmission. The other thing that was not happening before was we didn't have outbreaks in countries that didn't have it as endemic. That is, the country and their own internal infection status was that they had that infection in their population. These countries which are seeing monkeypox outbreaks, they were not endemic for, or monkeypox was not endemic in them, and now they're getting these outbreaks. They Today I was reading somewhere that this was because there were two big um, festivals where sex occurred as well, and that is where the outbreak started. But CDC, if as much as you will believe them or not believe them, but their point is this is not as contagious as COVID, so we're not expecting the outbreak like that. So in Massachusetts, 200 people, mostly healthcare workers, are being tracked after coming into contact with a patient. Many patients with confirmed monkeypox in the current outbreak have reported a rash or lesion on their genitals, which some doctors may have mischaracterized as herpes or syphilis, the CDC said. So, despite the recent spread in the gay community, CDC experts stress that this illness is not specific to any one group. Two vaccines are available to prevent monkeypox. One vaccine, so we talked about it that day. One is called Neos, specifically for monkeypox, and then there is another which is remember we discussed it last week. So then there is another one as well. The CDC said production of the vaccine is expected to ramp up in the coming weeks. Vaccine available in the stockpile for about 500 people. However, there are more than 100 million doses of another vaccine, ACAM 2000. This is an older generation vaccine meant to prevent smallpox, but could also be used to prevent monkeypox. So last week we had that discussion that the Jynneos that was approved in September of 2019, just a couple of months before, 3 months before the COVID outbreak. And at that time, Jynneos, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Jynneos, it seemed a little better than ACAM 2000. That vaccine, however, can come with significant side effects and would be considered only for very close personal contacts of those with monkeypox infection as well as healthcare workers. Most monkeypox patients in the current outbreak have recovered within a month without any specific treatment. CDC said no deaths have been reported. And there is actually no treatment other than supportive treatment, that is, take care of the patient, take care of their lesions, clean them, keep their health going, and so on. So, symptoms. So, we discussed this last time as well: headache, fever, myalgias, arthralgias, joint pains, muscle pains, fatigue, tiredness. Then, 2, 3 days later, there could be the appearance of those blisters or those uh, skin lesions that go in a stage, and then those lesions can spread in the body. So, monkeypox is a rare disease that's usually found in Central and West Africa, where it kills as many as 1 in 10 people who contract it. So, there are multiple variants. One is 30% lethality, the other one has 10% lethality. I think the variant that is seen here in these outbreaks is a milder variant. The symptoms are similar to those of smallpox: fever, headache, muscle aches, chills, exhaustion, and rash. There is no specific treatment for monkeypox, but the smallpox vaccine, as I discussed. This monkeypox virus is usually spread when a person comes in contact with an infected animal, human, or material contaminated with the virus. So, this is the um, situation. This is World Health Organization, and they're talking about cases of monkeypox have been reported. Third, sorry. So since 13 May 2020, cases of monkeypox have been reported to WHO from 12 member states that are not endemic. So now actually they have increased to, I believe, 2016. So this is 21 May. Today is 23rd. I believe the countries are now 16 that are not endemic for monkeypox virus across the WHO regions. Epidemiological investigations are ongoing. The situation is evolving fine, we know that. So here, Australia 1 to 5, Belgium 1 to 5, Canada 1 to 5, suspected 11 to 20, Belgium suspected 1 to 5, France 1 to 5, suspected another 1 to 5, Germany 1 to 5, Italy 1 to 5, Netherlands 1 to 5, Portugal 21 to 30, Spain 21 to 30, and another 6 to 10, Sweden 1 to 5, UK 21 to 30, US 1 to 5. Where is so Canada is here. So, reported cases that thus far have no established travel links to an endemic area. Based on currently available information, cases have mainly, but not exclusively, been identified amongst men who have sex with men, seeking care in primary care and sexual health clinics. All cases whose samples were confirmed by PCR have been identified as being infected with the West African clade. Genome sequence from a sequence sample from a confirmed case in Portugal indicated a close match of monkeypox virus causing the current outbreak. To exported cases from Nigeria to the UK, Israel, and Singapore in 2018 and 19. So it's a variant that was in Nigeria in 2018 and 19, and from there it went to UK, Israel, and Singapore. The current variant from Portugal looks very similar to that, and so on here. So once again, headache, acute onset of fever, 38.5 degrees centigrade, lymphadenopathies or swollen lymph nodes, myalgia, muscle and body aches, back pain, asthenia or profound weakness. And then after that, there can be a rash. Let's see what is the risk assessment. Endemic monkeypox disease is normally geographically limited to West and Central Africa. See, I was looking for this statement that situation is evolving. Advice: countries should be on alert for signal related to patients representing with an atypical rash, and so on. So that is WHO. So here we are. I hope you had a great weekend. Happy Monday. How are things? I see Rima is here. Hey Rima, how are you? Saraswati is here. Hello. Lisu says, hi again, still alive and kicking, but no heels. I'm in bed. Okay. So, question for you. So, Margaret McKinnon says, what about the antiviral medicine? So, yes, antiviral is part of the management regime, but it is not known to fix it or cure it. So, JH says, do the lesions appear everywhere, age, and can it cause blindness? I had not heard of the blindness, but it does start from the face and goes to the whole trunk. And so, blindness is, does monkeypox cause blindness? So that's a good question. This is ocular complications associated with acute monkeypox virus infection. Results: coronavirus, sorry, conjunctivitis. I see, whenever I see CO, that is coronavirus for me. Conjunctivitis was reported for a total of 68, 23.1% of the cases. The majority were male and under 10 years of age. Um, Cases where conjunctivitis was reported had a higher frequency of other symptoms such as nausea, chills, sweating, mouth ulcers, sore throat, lymphadenopathy, fatigue, and sensitivity to light compared to those with no reports conjunctivitis. 47% of the cases with conjunctivitis reported being bedridden compared to 16%. Conclusion: a considerable number of MPX cases had conjunctivitis as a symptom of their illness. Very interesting that you brought it up, JH. So, yes. And then they say here, so trifluoridine has been used to treat orthopox virus associated corneal lesions, improving the availability of ophthalmologic resources in areas endemic for the monkeypox may diminish risk for significant visual sequelae among patients. So they are asking for trifluoridine. So the patients of conjunctivitis are at a risk of corneal scarring, which can cause blindness. So, yes to your question. Colombian Coffee Bean says, I would like to hear from doctors who treat monkeypox in rural Africa. How do they treat? That's a very interesting question. I'll have to find someone in Nigeria. I have a couple of friends who may know someone in Nigeria. Okay, so that's my homework, Colombian Bean. I'll try to find someone. Okay to Let Go says, off topic, would it be valuable to discuss the role of biome health in elders receiving chemo? There is the digestive dysregulation in one I know how to manage that. So the problem with the chemo that this happens is that, imagine in chemo, what are we trying to do? We are trying to kill the cancer cells, correct? And how are the cancer cells different from the remaining cells? The main difference is that they are continuing to replicate, increase in number, and they are not under any control of the body. So they're not listening to saying, okay, don't grow anymore, stop it. They will not stop, they just keep growing. So the solution, other cells, sorry, let me back up. Other cells in our body, majority of other cells do not keep growing. For example, muscles do not automatically just keep increasing in number, or bones. I mean, there is a turnover of the cells, but usually these are stable cells. They don't increase in number. However, in our body, the bone marrow continues to replicate to make new WBCs and RBCs and the blood cells. They make more stem cells within the bone marrow as well, and that's a lifelong process. Then the surface cells of our body, and the surfaces are epithelial surfaces. Skin is a surface of our body, and it is continuously being replenished. So skin has multiple layers, and the lower layers make new cells which keep moving upwards, and as they move upward they die and they become hard and keratinized, and that's what the skin is. So skin cells continue to replenish, and that is our defense mechanism. This is how we trap the bacteria and viruses, and we shed them by shedding the layers of the skin. Every time you're walking around and you're doing this, you're actually shedding lots of skin. And I believe that these cockroaches actually like to eat those flakes. So let's see. Cockroach eat skin flakes. So, paper, cockroaches can digest cellulose, which allows them to consume paper material. Dead skin, it may be gross, but cockroaches feed on dead skin flakes, hairs, and fingers and toenails. So, this is why cockroaches are usually found near those places where dead skin is being shed. So, um, so the but this is a protective mechanism for us because we just shed the pathogens that are sitting. So imagine so many pathogens are sitting here trying to drill hole in our skin and trying to get into the hair follicle and infect the hair follicle and do those things, and we just keep shedding them, and that's how we get rid of them. Same is the truth for the git surface is also surface, right? So all of this mucous membrane all the way in the git all the way to the other end is actually an external surface. It is open on this end and open on the other end. So gastrointestinal tract is actually an external surface. It's just that it is present inside the body, but it is actually an open surface, open tube. And so it is epithelial as well. And so that is continuously replenishing as well. So the cells are continuously being produced and the older cells are continuously being removed. Now think about it. We have our blood replenishing, we have skin, we have git. There are some other cells as well that are turning over, and we give chemo. And one, there are so many kinds of chemos, but let me generalize it by saying we suppress production of any new cells. And the point is to suppress the production of the cells in the tumor. So, as we suppress the production of any new cells, that would mean no more bone marrow cells or less bone marrow cell production, less skin cell production, less GIT cell production, which would then cause people to have the hair fall off because the skin cells are not replenishing and they're not making solid follicles anymore, or the follicles are becoming weaker. GIT becomes irritated and all bad because the GIT layers are shedding, but new layers are not forming. So it's kind of thin layer becoming damaged easily. And same is the truth for the blood cells as well. So this is why this happens. So every kind of chemotherapy has a different way of managing it. So it's not about microbiome, it's really the surface of the GIT is kind of peeled off, but new surfaces are not developed that fast. Jim says, why don't we don't have cockroaches in North Iowa? That's an interesting one. So I'm gonna ask the interwebs, why are there no cockroaches in North Iowa? Well, it says there are cockroaches. Five types of cockroaches found in Iowa. So I don't want to say these cockroaches gross me out. So DDS is shedding like a snake. Correct. So if I share my screen once more, look at this. Charles Wessler and colleagues explain that humans shed their entire outer layer of skin every 2 to 4 weeks at the rate of 0.001 to 0.003 ounces of skin flakes every hour. So, to continue to add to the gross topic today, so outer layer is replaced completely, the this shedding like a snake every 2 to 4 week, every 15 days we make new skin and we shed the old one. And how much are we shedding every hour? 0.001 to 0.0003 ounces of skin flakes every hour. And that is cockroaches fun food. Sky Frog says roaches are a good source of protein. A little butter, a little garlic, yum. Sky Frog, are you saying that because you are a frog too? Today I got back at Sky Frog. Texas says Iowa is not cockroach free, maybe the far north. Jim says I've never seen one since moving to North Iowa in 1980. Maybe they just run away. Not hair shedding. Hair are shed as well. Lardazel says I've seen cockroaches in Wyoming. John Snyder says roaches are everywhere. Yes. Saraswati says interwebs. Yes. Okay, so Alexander says, can Dr. Bean train Luffy to bring old mouses to Dr. Murphy? I think we can do that. So, Luffy Kyrie story for you, which made me so sad, but there is a happy ending of the story. So, you know that Luffy has been going out, that Luffy was allowed to go out with the popular suggestion from the Cool Beans. And so he had been going out, then he got grounded, and now he has set timings that he can go out. For a few days now, we have been leaving the door open during the day. And so Kyrie has started going out as well. Kyrie is very, very afraid of going out because once in the past, when she was new, little baby, she was lost. She used to love to go out. And anytime we'll open the door, she'll just jump out. And so one day she jumped out and she ran away. And she stayed away for 1 month. And finally, when we found her, she was at somebody's garage and she was emaciated and bony, and I don't know how she was living. So since we have brought her back, she's careful. She doesn't go too far, or she's not very keen on going out. But for a few days, she has really been just hanging out there in the backyard. So one day, I think this was this weekend. No, not weekend. Couple of days even before the weekend. I went down and I saw Kyrie sitting looking at something. And I looked at the floor in front of her, and there was a dead sparrow. She had caught a sparrow. And the poor sparrow was sitting there dead, and she had broken a leg. The sparrow was missing a leg. So I just became so upset. So I said, I shoot Kyrie away, and I picked up that little sparrow, and sparrow started flying, and it flew and it fell. So it turned out that sparrow may have found its way. I do not know what really happened. Did Carrie go out and catch her, or did the sparrow come in accidentally and didn't find a good way to get out? So Kyrie had exhausted her by chasing her, and she was just not. So we took her out, my wife and I, and we kept her away from Kyrie, and we brought her to water, and we kind of just kept her in our hands till it she became she kind of developed some strength, and she flew away. So that's what Kyrie did. So I was so proud that my cats do not kill things outside, and here we had Kyrie catching a sparrow. Jim Mattock says, I have mice, think I can sell them. Actually, yes. The problem with the older mice to be expensive is that keeping a mouse alive for that long and in a state that they can be used, that takes a lot of caring. Because of that, they're expensive. So Margaret says, could the primary vector of monkeypox, being rodents, cause easier transport and contamination? It could, but the rodents are not the ones that are easy to move around. It is the humans who are getting infected and then moving it. Within the countries where it is endemic, over there the rodents contribute to it. John Snyder is so. John says, really, the entire south coast has huge roaches, easily confused. No, come on, no, don't tell me that. Easily confused for chickens? No. Parth says, I think I'm invisible today. Why? Parth, is your test done? Are you done with your studies? Meanwhile, in America says, what is a Jack Sparrow? Johnny Depp. Nipa says, maybe Kyrie must be protecting the poor. Maybe she was protecting her. The I actually thought that the sparrow was dead because she was just sitting there. I think the sparrow was protecting her life from Kyrie. That if I move, she's going to attack me. So she was just lying there. I used to have a cat, Robin says, that would jump 10 feet up to nab hummingbirds that feed us. Oh, wow. Doug says good night. Good night, Doug. Okay, to let go says yes. Cats are not loved by birders. Birds, yes. Par says need a suggestion. Harrison versus Davidson. So this is a important question that you're asking, and I have both. So Harrison is over there, and my Davidson is in my Kindle. Um, so many of the students that are uh, eventually going to work with with the UK system, they study from Davidson. Harrison, I love Harrison. It's bigger than Davidson, and for undergrad, it is too big. Still, if you want to master or you want to study for the fun of it, I like Harrison. I love Davidson as well, but I find Harrison to be a little more aligned with the kind of education I do here or learn here in the US. So Harrison is more aligned with the US concepts, and Davidson is more aligned with the UK system. So that is the basic idea. Now, for the exams, they both are very big. So you have to have a smaller book as well or make your own notes. Dr. Iron Mom says, we have two Bengal cats. They have become such good hunters, they don't need us anymore. They just visit occasionally. Keep a bell on yours so they don't do the same. So, thank you. So, our cats have bell, plus they have that Apple tile on them. So, we know all the time where they are. And we bring them back in before the night and then we sleep. Meanwhile, in America says, which countries do you think have the best medical systems? So this is going to be a controversial question because everyone will think their country has the best medical system. Number one, number two, medical system is nowadays defined by so many things. Insurance's availability, the control of the big pharma or not, the spend of the amount needed for the drugs or the medicines, the availability of the physician for the patient. um, so there are more than just the education and physician part. So of course I feel that America is the best medical system, although during the pandemic we you must have seen that during the course of 2 years I became quite sad and broken hearted for the way we behaved. But I always believe that America's healthcare system is great, again barring insurance and availability of the healthcare to everyone or not. Then I believe UK's system is very good as well, but that system has it's not comparable to US in terms of the practice. But that is very good system too. I believe Germany's system is very good as well. Um, but American system is the leader at this time. Although we kind of really lost some of the credibility. Dr. Iron Mom says, I love Harrison too. I have my dad's copy of Harrison as well as newer. Yes. So over here, I have, so talking about the dad's copies, I have I think that Grey's Anatomy, and I have one more book, Guyton. I have a real old Guyton version as well, even older than my time. So when I got that, when I was in first year, second year medicine, someone who had it for years before gifted it to me. But in the US, I love the current. The only thing is current has to be bought every year. But current medicine is also good. Parth says, look at the Parth's philosophy. Be like cancer, create your own growth factors and learn to grow in the absence of your growth factors. Hmm. Mm, good. Parth is totally enamored in medicine. So Dr. Iron Mom says, good idea. I'll get an apple tile for ours too. One problem is that the cat collars are made to break off. No, so the cat collars that we have with the apple tile, they've been totally fine. Keeney says, my American bobtail cat, Titus, loves listening to Dr. Bean. He's purring. Awesome. Very good. Vanilla Bean says Germany is good. Yeah. Ramnik says, I remember reading Davidson. Yeah, Davidson is good. In my time, I had read Davidson and what other medicine books I read? I forgot. I used to be crazy for the books. I think you can tell from my love for the mechanisms that I would just open up every book and see if there is any new thing in there. Alicia says UK medical has challenges. My son went to grad school at Imperial College a few years, and his experience with healthcare was less than ideal. Yeah, UK's healthcare, as much as UK's healthcare system is used as the leading system for India, Pakistan like countries, um, but without offending folks in Britain, it doesn't compare to the way US's system is. But it has its own goods. We have our own bads. Dr. Iron Mom says, I love Guyton too. Yes, Guyton is good. So Grays is the only one, this one, uh, that big one, the black, black one, that one. Grays is the only one that I started in the first year and then I very quickly ran away from it. It was just so big for me. Meanwhile, in America says, anyone heard updates on North Korea? So let's see. North Korea COVID. NPR says Kim and other North Koreans attend large funeral amid COVID worry. A large number of North Koreans, including leader Kim Jong Un, attended a funeral for a top official. Limited testing. So, its state media said Monday that 2.8 million people have fallen ill due to an unidentified fever, but only 68 of them have died since last April, an extremely low fatality rate if the illness is COVID as suspected. So 2.8 million cases now. Experts question the true toll given North Korea's 26 million people are mostly unvaccinated and about 40% are reportedly undernourished. The public healthcare system is almost broken and chronically short of medicine and supplies. In South Korea, where most of the its 52 million people are fully vaccinated, the fatality rate was 0.13% as of Monday. Some observers say North Korea would only receive assistance from China, its last major ally, because Western aid shipments could hurt Kim's leadership as he has repeatedly called for a self reliance to fight against US led pressure campaigns. Alexander says, my cat is broken. She doesn't purr. Previous cat was purring 24/7. That's funny. Cool. So, with this, how about we break for today? So, Skyfrog, have you tried the Sumatra coffee? So, I tried to try it. That is, I went to Starbucks. I said, do you have Sumatra? They said, we only make it when somebody orders it. So, if you order it and then come in, we will make it. Otherwise, we don't have it ready. So, I couldn't test it. I would try again. So, maybe tomorrow I'll order it first and then go and try it. Parth is sitting here cracking his medicine jokes. Having a big heart is a sign of kindness, love, and affection. Unless a cardiothoracic ratio exceeds 0. Greater cardiomegaly. Yes, you're correct. Gina says, don't forget to hit the like button. Absolutely. Yes, yes. Kathleen says, you would love Sumatra guaranteed. Okay, very good. I will try it tomorrow. Joy Fisher says, thank you. Good night. So, meanwhile, in America, says my 90-year-old grandmother lives in a house with relatives who are one by one testing positive to COVID. Asked today how long she has to wait until the last relative gets it and she's in the clear. So if she doesn't get it and everybody else has gotten it, and then there are 5 days after that, then for the more shedding can occur for 7-10 days too, but mostly she'll be, if she doesn't get it, meaning the very first person would have started to shed. So either she's being very careful or the virus is not able to infect her very well, so which is a good thing. So good luck to her. Skyfrog says, have a good night. Good night, everyone. And Parth says, Margaret says, thank you. Thank you to you as well. Parth says, good night, Dr. Bean. You're my favorite. Thank you very much. Your jokes were fun. Uh, okay, so do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share. I was gonna say care. Meanwhile, says she's very careful, but there's 6. Can't she move away for a few days in a hotel-like place where she doesn't infect anyone else? Um, so please like, subscribe, and share. And if you would like to support this work, there are links in the description that you can use to support it. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.